نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وأصحابه الغر الميامين. الحمد لله الذي جعلنا من المتمسكين بولاية سيدي ومولاي علي بن أبي طالب. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. أما بعد، دفنت في بيتها، فلما زادت بنو أمية في المسجد صارت في المسجد. The first of our loud salawat in honor of Rasulullah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. The second louder salawat in honor of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. A third with your loudest voices in honor of the Imam of our time, Imam Sahib al-Asri wal-Zaman. My dear brothers, if you can just move to your right slightly to make space for those who are coming in. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Respected scholars, brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah wa barakatuh. Where is Fatima Zahra alayhi salam buried is a question that has been of the utmost importance for many of the scholars of the religion of Islam. Where is her grave is a question that many of us have asked, especially those of us who have done ziyarah of a number of the houses of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam and a number of their sites. When we go there, for example, to Medina, we know where Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi is buried. We know, for example, where his grandsons are buried, be it Imam al-Hasan or Imam al-Hussein alayhim as-salam. We know, for example, the sons of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, we know where they are all buried as well. Some of us go to Kadhmain, others of us go towards Samarra. And we also know that there are others of the daughters of Ahlul Bayt who may be buried in different parts of the Middle East. But when a person looks at arguably the most important female in the history of the religion of Islam, for both Shia and non-Shia, it is amazing that no Muslim can tell you where she is buried. If you look on the first level from rational convention, that many people in the world today, when someone important or a renowned personality dies from within their country or from within their community or from within their religion, they'll be able to pinpoint to you where they are buried. And even if you were to look at a female prime minister in the world, or a princess, or a queen of any country, they'll be able to tell you exactly where their grave is located. When I look, for example, at many of the religions in the world today, their most important figures, they'll pinpoint to you. This one in India, that one in China, that one, for example, in a part of the Middle East. Why? Because they want to ensure that the name of that person remains alive forever. When we bury someone, we know that their body has gone under the ground, but their legacy remains above the earth. So therefore, whether you're Muslim or non-Muslim, I want to go to Queen Elizabeth's grave, or I want to go to a wife of Rasulullah's grave, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, like Sayyidah Khadija alayhi salam, I can find where their graves are. I go now to Mecca, and I go to Jannat al-Mu'allad, and I will see that there is the burial place of Bani Hashim, and here is the burial place of Sayyidah Khadija alayhi salam. If I want to see the burial place of Aisha, for example, I could go to Jannat al-Baqi', there is the burial place of Aisha. When I come therefore and see that even Islam's main names of females, everyone knows where they are buried, then why is it when it comes to Fatima Zahra alayhi salam, nobody is able to tell you where her grave is? For what reason is there a doubt concerning her grave? Many of the ulama of the school of Ahlul Bayt did not leave this issue alone. A person could have easily said that who cares where her grave is? What difference will it make to me? No. On the contrary, for me as a Muslim, a grave is a location of barakah at the end. A grave like the grave of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. Why do I go all the way to visit, for example, the grave of the Prophet, peace be upon him, if the Prophet died 1,400 years ago, it's because there's an energy that surrounds that grave. There are blessings that surround that grave. I'm not going to worship the person in the grave. No, I go there and I even recite in my ziyarah, أشهد أنك قد أقمت الصلاة وآتيت الزكاة وأمرت بالمعروف ونهيت عن المنكر وأطعت الله, and that you obeyed Allah. Automatically any idea of shirk is removed. But when I come to Fatima Zahra alayhi salam, Shaykh al-Saduq, Shaykh al-Mufid, Shaykh al-Tusi, Sayyid ibn Tawus, Ibn Idris al-Hilli, Ibn Shahr Ashur, Allam al-Majlisi, all the way until contemporaries today, such as, for example, said Muhsin al-Amin or said Ja'far Murtada al-Amili, ulama of the Shia never left this issue alone. Other schools in Islam try to leave the issue. When you ask them, where is Fatima Zahra alayhi salam buried? They'll say, somewhere in Medina. Somewhere in Medina is not an answer you give about the daughter of the man who gave you everything in life. Wallah, if you bring me to a councillor or a mayor of a city in the UK, people may even tell you where he is buried, or may respect his children because of who their dad was, or because of who their mum was. When therefore a person comes to ask this question to anybody who claims to be a Muslim, and you say to them, Fatima Zahra alayhi salam, of all the ladies in Islam, why do we not know where she is buried? For what reason do we not know as well? Amongst the reasons of that secrecy, no doubt therefore, was that there was to be a clear light on the historical issues of that period. Otherwise, Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam could have easily said that, listen, we are going to at least reveal where it is so that all of you later on can receive from the barakah. Say that there was an issue at the time when she died. What have I done wrong not to be able to visit her grave? Say Fatima Zahra alayhi salam, there was an issue at that time, and that is the main reason behind why a person does not necessarily see an open grave. That something must have happened for Fatima Zahra alayhi salam, of all people, for her to have her grave unknown. Surely the daughter of the Prophet, like his wives, everybody knows where they're buried. Why wouldn't you know where the daughter's buried? For what reason wouldn't you know why the daughter's buried? Why are others mentioned? Because if you come to all of the Islamic history, you can ask people, so-and-so is buried there, so-and-so is buried there, so-and-so is buried there. Muslims did not hide this. I go to Cairo today, I'll see that a Muslim who is not Shia will tell me, this is the mosque of Sayyidina al-Hussein alayhi salam. Or I go to Cairo, say this is the place of Sayyida Nafisa. I go to other parts, I go to Sham, they'll show me ulama from Sham, this is where their grave is. So the Muslims, it's not like they don't honor where the graves are, but only one grave, they don't know where it is exactly. Only one grave they are uncertain of, and that's the grave of Fatima Zahra alayhi salam. Question then arose, what conclusion can one reach as to where her grave is? Say Shaykh al-Saduq, and say Ibn Idris al-Hilli, and Ibn Shahr Ashur, and Allam al-Majlisi, they must have given us some insight as to where the qabr of Fatima is. They must have looked at certain narrations from the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. Then others ask a question, and that is, Imam Ali alayhi salam knew that Fatima Zahra had spoken out against the government of her time. How did Mawla ensure that the government did not find the grave of Fatima? Say Imam Ali wants to bury her secretly, A government has certain foot soldiers. Government has spies. Government has informants. How does Imam Ali alayhi salam ensure that nobody from the government finds out? Now, what if someone from the government heard that Fatima Zahra alayhi salam was buried secretly? Did Fali or Sakali in books they react when they found out that Fatima Zahra was buried secretly or no? Or did they just say, you know what, we've attended her Fatimiyah or her janazah, so what, who cares, life goes on. When a person looks at everything that surrounded the last moments of the life of Fatima Zahra alayhi salam and the burial of Fatima Zahra alayhi salam, you'll see it wasn't a normal burial. Nor was it a normal place where she's buried. On the contrary, what took place was a lot more than what we assume. Let us tonight examine the arguments which have been given by the ulama as to where the grave of Fatima Zahra alayhi salam is. And I'd like to do it in the following stages. Number one, which is the cemetery that normally some scholars hinted could have been where she's buried. Number two, which holy site in the mosque of Rasulullah did some go towards that direction? Number three, how about where her father is buried and that particular area? Number four, who was allowed to attend the janazah of Fatima and who wasn't? Number five, when the second Khalifa found out, according to Shia literature, that Imam had buried Fatima secretly, what did he tell the ladies of Medina to go and do to her grave? Number six, when Imam Ali alayhi salam found out that those ladies had gone to do what they done, what did Imam Ali react to those ladies and to that second Khalifa? Number seven, how do the ulama explain why Fatima Zahra alayhi salam wanted to be buried secretly? Was it for her to become remembered or for a group of others to never be forgotten? And finally, how clear is it that none of Ashab al-Kisa had an easy burial, from the first of them until the last of them? Let's examine this and dissect the topic in complete depth. Fatima Zahra alayhi salam died, as we all know, shortly after her father had passed away. Some asked the question that why do we have all of these different majalis in this period? Because someone said to me, a few weeks ago was Fatimiyah, today is Fatimiyah, next week is Fatimiyah. Reality is that number one, the narrations differ. Some narrations say that she died 40 days after Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. Others say 75 days. Others say 90 days. Hence, if you look next week, for example, in Manchester, there are majalis for the third narration of Fatimiyah. 2 weeks ago, there were other majalis for Fatimiyah. Why? Because the books of history as such, when the Prophet died, we never had publishing houses like Routledge and Penguin and others there producing books straight away and giving out the dates. All we had at that time was oral understanding of our history. Some were writing, no doubt, but weren't necessarily publishing far. Sometimes even Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. You ask one Muslim, when's his date of birth? He says 12th of Rabi' al-Awwal. You ask another Muslim, when's his date of birth? He says 17th Rabi' al-Awwal. Say, hold on, but it should be one date. When you ask me about Fatimiyah, you have a problem if it's 3 dates. Rasulullah, the greatest, is 2 dates. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, 12th of Rabi' al-Awwal in our books, 17th of Rabi' al-Awwal in our books. Our Sunni brothers and sisters, 12th of Rabi' al-Awwal in their books. So therefore, different contentions and dates can happen. Fatima Zahra alayhi salam, when she was in her final moments, Bukhari narrates clearly, فَغَضِبَتْ فَاطِمَةُ بِنْتُ رَسُولِ اللَّهِ صلى الله عليه وآله فَهَجَرَتْ أَبَا بَكْرٍ. Fatima died angry and asked that Abu Bakr does not come near her at all. That's not my literature. That is your literature. That Fatima Zahra died clearly in a state of anger. That state of anger led her to making it clear to Imam Ali alayhi salam, I do not want any of them to attend my funeral. Any of who? Any of the Saqifa government. When I say any of the Saqifa government, I am not bringing this from the back pocket at the end of the day. The first Khalifa was chosen at Saqifa, so therefore it is called a Saqifa government. Now someone wants to say, don't call it a Saqifa government, then what do you want to call it? Khilafah of Allah? You don't believe in the Khilafah chosen by Allah. Therefore it's a Saqifa government. Fatima Zahra alayhi salam said, the Saqifa government, I don't want their main members. Who are their main members, the Saqifa government? You can look in the books of history. Who are the main members of the Saqifa government? The first Khalifa, second Khalifa, third Khalifa, and then they have with them Khalid ibn al-Walid, Mu'adh bin Jabal, and they have others alongside them who were known, Abdul Rahman bin Auf and so on and so forth. Who was Imam Ali's Shia? The loyal ones to Imam Ali, who were not the followers of the Saqifa government, they would be the ones allowed to attend the burial. Ulama of the Shia give different names as to who was allowed to attend the janazah of Fatima Zahra alayhi salam. Obviously, who would you say? Imam himself would be there. Imam al-Hasan, Imam al-Hussein alayhim salam would be there. Who else? They mention, some mention, of course, some only limited to them, by the way. Some historical sources say only them. Others include Abbas, the uncle of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, Hamza and Abu Talib's brother. Others bring Aqil, the brother of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Others bring Abdullah ibn Mas'ud. Others mention Zubair, because Zubair was one of the Shia of Imam Ali alayhi salam. When Rasulullah died, Zubair fought the Saqifa government in the skirmish in relation to the bay'ah. These were the people. Of course, when Fatima Zahra alayhi salam says, I don't want them to attend, there is a caveat that she will always maintain. Unless you have an opinion on the issue, Mawla. Because Imam Ali is the Imam of Fatima Zahra alayhi salam. If Mawla has an opinion, then she goes with his, not hers. Never, ever, ever, ever put Fatima and Ali on the same level. Never. Fatima Zahra is the Shia of Ali. There is nothing of them being on the same level. If, of course, for marriage, there is no one who could have married her except Ali. But in terms of height and ilm and hikmah, none comes near Imam Ali alayhi salam, for he is the one who is the gate to the city of knowledge. So what happens is that Fatima Zahra alayhi salam tells Imam Ali alayhi salam that I want you to wash my body with Asma bint Umays. Asma bint Umays was the wife of Abu Bakr. Now someone says, wait, let me try and put the jigsaw pieces together once again. The wife of the first caliph is involved in the ghusl of Fatima. That wife brought about two opinions. One opinion, some ulama rejected the idea that Asma was in the washing. Why? Because they said she's too close to the government for that much info. Others said Asma ends up marrying Imam Ali alayhi salam after who? After being with the first Khalifa. She was the mother of who? The mother of Muhammad, son of Abu Bakr. Yes? Who is raised by Imam Ali alayhi salam, who was only a few years old. Asma, there is likelihood that she was with Imam Ali for the washing of the body. The moment Fatima Zahra alayhi salam died, the news went around Medina. Everybody heard that Fatima Zahra alayhi salam died. Don't think that nobody heard. There is a difference between people not knowing where she's buried and people hearing. Today in Bradford, someone dies. A message is sent around on WhatsApp. So-and-so has died. Don't mean you're going to get the message for when the janazah is. And it don't mean that you're going to even be invited. So when Fatima Zahra alayhi salam died, what happened in Medina? In Medina there was a dhajjah. In Medina, everybody came together. They began to ask the question, what's going on? What's happened? People came outside the house of Fatima. And when they came outside, they said, when's the janazah? We want to know. Abu Dhar al-Ghifari came out. He said, we will inform you. As for now, there are no details. The rest of you go home. Abu Dhar and Salman and Miqdad were very close to the house of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Imam Ali alayhi salam said to Abu Dhar, tell them to go. We will decide and we will wait. Abbas uncle of Imam Ali alayhi salam, and of course uncle of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, said to Imam Ali, why don't you just gather the Muhajir and the Ansar, let them all come to the janazah. When everyone can come to my janazah, it means, in a way, that I don't have an issue with them. In a way, don't get me wrong. I've been to many janazahs where the one who hates the guy who's died, and the one who's been involved in a punch-up, and everyone's there. And the sister who hates the aunt, and the cousin who hates the sister, but they're all there. But when you announce that nobody can come except these, what are you saying? In reality, you're saying that all of you out there, I am angered by what you have done at Saqifa, Fadak, and the rest of your behavior. Hence, Imam Ali alayhi salam said to Abu Dhar, tell them all, they can go, we will decide who will come towards the funeral. Imam Ali alayhi salam washes the body, and now they make a move to decide about the burial. What are the opinions about where they took her? First opinion, which is normally given, is that it was in Jannatul Baqi'. Jannatul Baqi'. There is no hadith, for example, from Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, where Imam al-Sadiq says, Fatima Zahra alayhi salam is buried in Jannatul Baqi'. There's no hadith. So someone says, then how could you say in Jannatul Baqi'? Because Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam said that when I die, O Hussein, let me visit the grave of my grandfather. Some say I want to be buried there. Some say just to go past it. Then my mother. And then I want to be buried in that Baqi' area. People from there surmise the idea that we could infer that she's buried in where? In Jannatul Baqi'. Why? Because Jannatul Baqi' at that time was the main maqbara, the qabristan for the Muslims. Uthman bin Mad'un was the first there. Halima Sa'diyah was buried there. Others were buried there. So that was an area where you would assume that people would be buried. Imam al-Hasan said to Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, allow me to be taken near the grave of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. Then the grave of my mother. Who stopped this? It was stopped by Aisha. Aisha, wife of the Prophet. She is the one who stopped Imam al-Hasan's janazah from coming near the grave of his grandfather. To which Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiyyah, in the Shia literature, Muhammad ibn al-Hanafiyyah said to her, one day on a camel and another day on a mule. One day on a camel and another day on a mule. That day she rode a mule. In Jamal, she obviously rode a Jamal. And she came out and she said, nobody comes near this place. This belongs to me. It belongs to you. How? We even discussed last night. Even mathematical inheritance dictates that it's not shared appropriately. But no problem. Imam al-Hasan had told Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, do not let any blood be shed at my janazah. Don't let the Muslims fight each other. Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam, his body was from there taken to Jannat al-Baqi'. Some said that that must be where his mom is buried. Why? Because if he's taken to Jannat al-Baqi' and I want to be near my mom, that means his mom's there. In Arabic, sometimes referring to someone as mom could be literal mom or could be the mom that also was involved in raising you, and that is your grandmother. Fatima bint Asad, mother of Imam Ali alayhi salam. So Imam al-Hasan's mom is Fatima Zahra. Imam al-Hasan's grandma is who? Fatima bint Asad, the mother of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Imam al-Hasan loved his grandmother. And therefore, that first opinion on Jannat al-Baqi' was rejected. Why? Because firstly, no Imam is saying that Fatima Zahra is buried in Baqi', obviously. Secondly, because Fatima bint Asad's grave is next to Imam al-Hasan's grave. Imam al-Hasan, when he was born, Imam Ali's mom was living with them in Medina. He was raised by his grandmother alongside his mom. Therefore, it would have been something also quite public. Had Imam Ali alayhi salam taken the body of Fatima Zahra all the way to Baqi' I think someone would have spotted a janazah going all that way. Or people already buried people in Baqi'. Someone could have easily said, well, Baqi' is not the biggest place in the world. Baqi' today is not Baqi' when it was built. Baqi' had been extended by Muawiyah and others when he bought the Jewish land at the back. The Jewish land used to house Uthman's grave. Muawiyah didn't want that Uthman is remembered to be buried alongside the Jews. So Muawiyah bought the land behind Baqi'. Baqi' at that time was small. If Imam Ali alayhi salam is going to take Fatima Zahra's body to Baqi', well, people are going to say, look, there's not exactly 1 million graves over here for him to have space. So what is it? So the first opinion was rejected. That Jannat al-Baqi' was where Fatima bint Asad is buried rather than Fatima Zahra alayhi salam. That was the first opinion. Second opinion was what? The Rawdah. You know, between the grave and the mimbar, when you go to visit Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa his grave in Medina, there's that beautiful green light that shines between his grave and his mimbar. That is known as the Rawdah. Rawdah means what? Rawdah means that which is, for example, garden or green. That Rawdah is seen as one of the gardens of Jannah. Second opinion says that her grave is where? Her grave is there. Why? They say first, logically speaking, that place is right next to her house. So Mawla does not need to take her out anywhere. Mawla could ensure no one sees where she's buried. We bury her where? In that Rawdah area. Number two, the Rawdah is an area of barakah, and she is the meaning of Jannah. That is a garden. She is Sayyidat Nisa al-Jannah. So that area would be the most appropriate for her. So that was a second opinion, that the Rawdah is that garden of Jannah. Fatima Zahra alayhi salam isn't there. Another problem with this opinion is, again, we do not have anything that really takes us to the idea that she is buried in the Rawdah. I cannot say I read a hadith from an imam that says that Fatima Zahra alayhi salam is buried in that area of the Rawdah. Nothing exists within our literature as such. Yes. If a person thinks Fatima and Imam Ali's house, the door opens up to Masjid al-Nabawi. Masjid al-Nabawi has got this wonderful area of barakah that people today, you know, today with the system of Umrah, you've got to go on an app and you have to book your slot for you to go to the Rawdah. Back in the day, all of us would go to the Rawdah, we pray 2 rak'ah, we chill and we leave. Now, app, time, show, QR code, no problem. This is not an issue, but I'm saying that, look, in that time, the Rawdah, Mawla could have buried her. Where would she want more beautiful than to be next to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alih? But, again, there is nothing there that indicates that possibility. That left us with the third opinion, which is what? Which is the strongest opinion. And that is that she was buried in her house. In the house of Fatima and Ali. She was buried in there. You see, if you keep coming to my house and you're like, when's the janazah? When's the janazah? What time's the janazah? I want to be at the janazah. Tell us when's the janazah. Am I going to be able to leave in the middle of the night? I can leave in the middle of the night. But if I am going to leave in the middle of the night, and I've got a few of my friends with me, and we're holding a body, Medina is a small area, that area around the Haram. Therefore, what's the third one? Look at the hadith in Al-Kafi. دفنت في بيتها. Hadith where? In Al-Kafi of Shaykh Al-Kulayni. Al-Kafi, as we know, in Shi'ism is the most important book of hadith. Al-Kafi of Shaykh Al-Kulayni. In there it says دفنت في بيتها. She was buried in her house. And then فلما زادت بنو أمية في المسجد, when Bani Umayyah expanded the mosque, صارت في المسجد. Look at this. My house at that time was attached to the mosque. Mosque of Rasulullah at that time was this big. It wasn't 16 minarets. I always, when people come and tell me, this is a bid'ah, you should not introduce these things. I'm like, bro, in Medina there was a couple of minarets. Now we have 16. That's not a bid'ah. So no, we have to expand. Likewise, we have to expand and innovate. But our bid'ah is not going against the Sharia. Rasulullah, when Medina was there, the small houses would open up onto the mosque of Rasulullah until Bani Umayyah, listen to the hadith in Al-Kafi, دُفِنَتْ فِي بَيْتِهَا. Someone asks you today, where is Fatima Zahra buried? She is buried in her house. Buried in her house. فَلَمَّا زَادَتْ بَنُو أُمَيَّةَ فِي الْمَسْجِدِ. When Bani Umayyah expanded. Now the Umayyads, Muawiyah, Yazid, da. When these guys all came in, they expanded the mosque of Rasulullah. And then others expanded. And others expanded. You know the mosque of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, you know it has the name of the 12 imams in there as well. In the mosque, engraved on the top is the name of every imam. Someone says, how's the mosque have the names of the imams? The Ottomans, when they expanded the mosque, part of it was that they put the name of the imams, all 12 of them, and they put the name of the Sahaba, and they would engrave them over there. So the mosque that you see today is not the same mosque as was there 1400 years ago. Bani Umayyah, Bani Abbas, Salajiqa, Fatimids, the Buyids, the Ottomans, all of them had a role one way or the other in the expansion of the mosque. In Al-Kafi, therefore, what does it say? She was buried where? She was buried in her house. Someone says, hold on, but I thought the theory says very clearly that you do not know where her grave is. I don't know where in that area is her exact grave. In that house area, which was attached to the mosque, somewhere there is the grave of Fatima Zahra alayhi salam. Can I take you on ziyarah tomorrow and say to you, hey guys, come with me, it's exactly there? I could do that with Abu Abdullah alayhi salam. I could do that with Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam. I could do that with Imam Zayn al-Abidin, with Imam al-Salih, with Imam al-Kadhib, with Imam al-Jawad, with Imam al-Hadi, with Imam al-Asd. But I cannot do that with Fatima Zahra. Someone said, but dufinat fi baytiha. Dufinat fi baytiha. That area, I cannot pinpoint exactly where Imam Ali buried her. Nor did Imam Ali alayhi salam necessarily want it to go out to everybody. Imam Ali alayhi salam. Someone says, then why Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam? Imam al-Sadiq, in his time, many graves of Ahlul Bayt were revealed because there was more freedom to reveal. I'll give you an example. Imam Ali alayhi salam is buried where? I ask all of you now. Imam Ali is buried where? Najaf. Imam Ali died in the 40th year after Hijrah. How many years did it take us for us to know where he's buried in Najaf? 92. 92. How did we know? One opinion that was given, which is a myth, it's a false opinion, that Harun Rashid gone out hunting with his dogs and the dogs stopped somewhere and that they didn't go near a grave. They found out that's the grave of Mawla. No, you don't need to complicate things, chill. Imam al-Sadiq is alive. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam found that now it is convenient for us to say where the grave of Imam Ali alayhi salam is. Imam al-Sadiq came out and he said, here is the grave of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Did the Ahl al-Bayt before him know? Yes, they knew. Ziyarat Amin Allah, which all of us recite in Najaf, was from Imam Zayn al-Abidin. He taught it to Abu Hamza al-Thumali. Imam Zayn al-Abidin told Abu Hamza, come with me. Abu Hamza's like, where are we going? He goes, we're in Najaf. Where am I? What am I doing? He goes, recite after me. At that moment, when he began to recite the ziyarah, he asked him, where are we exactly? He said, we are here, sitting at the grave of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Therefore, Imam al-Sadiq had more freedom to elaborate that Fatima Zahra is buried here. Someone asked the question, but the hadiths say that Imam Ali alayhi salam did what? Imam Ali alayhi salam went out from his house secretly in the middle of the night. When he went out secretly in the middle of the night, so what did Imam Ali do going out secretly in the middle of the night? One opinion is to mislead the government, to mislead the people. I will go to Jannat al-Baqi', because you know what he did? He went to Jannat al-Baqi', or he went in that area, and he dug, some hadith say 7 graves. And others mention 40 graves Imam Ali dug. He went there, and he dug between 7 to 40 graves. Some people say then people would have seen him carrying Fatima Zahra. Not necessarily. Imam Ali alayhi salam could have gone there. They could have gone as a group. They dig graves. People think she must be somewhere there. But all that time she is buried where? In the house. So the idea that Imam Ali must have gone out to bury her, no. Imam could go mislead, put different graves. Why? Because the government cannot know where she's buried. The next day, when people heard that she was buried, the news reached the government of the time. Remember, Fatima Zahra is like you standing up to the president of your country. I don't know if that clicks in people's heads. The country is called Hijaz. It is ruled by a Saqifa government. You stand up against the government. It's not Medina High Street you're standing up in. You're standing up in DC. You're standing up in prime London. So Fatima Zahra alayhi salam stood up against prime government. Government finds out that in the middle of the night you have been burying and you have done this without informing them. You know, governments love one thing. Even if they've killed the person, they'll be at their funeral. It's that it happens. That even if they've killed the person, the government, they will make sure that they're aware that that prime minister, Ma'mun killed Imam al-Rada. He said, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. What a good man Imam al-Rada was. He's the one who poisoned him. He said, Inna lillah. Now the first Khalifa has not been allowed to be at Fatima's funeral. It's a big issue. Why? Number one, Fatima's a part of me. Whoever angers her, angers me. You're in trouble. Because she's blatantly said, I don't want you. You know, Muslims hardly ever say, I don't want you at my funeral. Normally, it's only when a dad is really angry at his son. All our dads, at one stage or another, I never want you at my janazah. You'll never come. It can happen. Muslims otherwise normally say, you know what, let everyone come when I die, free Fatiha, you know, everyone can give me thawab and so on and so forth. When you aren't allowed to be at the funeral of a Muslim, you are embarrassed, to say the least. When someone has blatantly said, I don't want them. When you are a community leader, you'll be more embarrassed. When you are a mayor, you're more embarrassed. What if you're the prime minister of the country? So, you've got the head of the country and you've got his Minister of Affairs. Minister of Affairs, number two, to the government. He called the ladies of Medina. First, he went to Imam Ali alayhi salam and he said to him, why did you not allow us and tell us where Fatima's janazah is and where she's buried? Imam Ali alayhi salam said, that was her wishes. She is the one who put the order that these cannot come near my grave. No chance. They cannot come to my funeral. You know what he did? He ordered the women of Medina, he said to them, go and dig every grave that they have done. Remember I said Mawla done 40. Dig every single one until we will take her body out and we will re-pray the whole janazah, then we put it back in. Now someone might say, oh, I don't believe you, Shia. Habibi, until you believe me, you don't. You've got your day of judgment, I've got mine. This idea that you have to believe what I say, you're a Muslim from another school, I don't care, in all honesty, if you agree with me or if you don't. Wallah, I won't lose one bit of sleep. Not one. You have your manhaj, you have your reading, and I have my reading. Why should I submit to your reading? I have my reading. Let me be free to say my reading. Same way you want to call Abu Talib kafir day and night, then I have my reading as well. This is my reading. This is my books. Or is it haram for me to reach a conclusion? There's only one conclusion of 1400 years of human fallible history. Let's be frank. Our religion, Islam, 1000 years of it has been led by fallible humans who make mistakes. It's only the first few hundred years that was led by Ma'sumin. Now, Imam Ali alayhi salam sees that the second caliph has said to them that I want you to dig. Imam Ali unsheathed his sword. Now, here's a question. Why didn't you unsheath that sword at the door? If your wife has been beaten or your wife has been attacked behind the door, is now the time to unsheath Dhul Fiqar? The answer to this can come from many angles. One angle is that this shouldn't even be asked. When he is an imam, whatever he does, we submit. That's number one. Did you ever see him make an incorrect decision in his life up to that moment for you to doubt that moment? Two, did you ever doubt his bravery in your life? Has Imam Ali ever lost a battle in front of people or no? So if Imam Ali wants to take out his sword, three. Four, taking out one sword doesn't always mean bravery. It could be recklessness as well. Four. Five, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi saw Sumayyah and Yasir being tortured in front of him. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi is the most brave human this earth has seen. He sees Sumayyah and Yasir in front of his eyes being tortured by Abu Jahl. All he says is sabr, sabr. When he was saying sabr, didn't you tell him, oh Muhammad, why don't you take your sword out and go and kill Abu Jahl? Number six, the same Mawla, Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, even in our literature we have that those who attacked his house, he grabbed them and put them on the ground and said, were it not for the wasiyah of Rasulullah, I'd kill all of you today. Now the question, that why now would you take out your sword? Because now the amana has gone back, and now my imamah, once that amana has gone, it is in my hands what I do. If one more grave is taken out, one more, he says to him, if one more is taken out, I will cause a bloodbath in Medina. Yeah, if one more is taken out. No one takes a single bit of dust from Medina anymore. One more. The ladies, by the way, the ladies who he had sent to go and dig them, they had run away. Ali ibn Abi Talib with a sword. No one's going to stay. He said, if one more piece of dust is taken out, I will gorge out even the eyes of those who you have bought. There will be nothing left of any of you. When she was alive, she was an amana from her dad. Now that she's died, now it's in my hands what I do to all of you. None of you comes near her or comes near this area, and no one says another word. That was it. From that moment onwards, the government decided that we have to swallow this bitter pill. Ulama asked the question, Fatima Zahra, why didn't she allow for that grave to be known? For what reason? One opinion was that Fatima Zahra wanted to always be remembered. And the way that you would remember her is that you'd be hurt as to knowing what happened to her at the end. But that's above Fatima. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who raised the memory of her father when he said, وَرَفَعْنَا لَكَ ذِكْرَكَ, can raise the memory of Fatima, yes? So what's the second opinion? Second opinion is a stronger one. What is that second opinion? She didn't want those who attacked her to ever be forgotten. This is interesting. I sometimes don't want you to be forgotten because you've done so much good to me. You've been kind to me. You've been hospitable to me. You've looked after me. I also sometimes don't want you to ever be forgotten because of the way that you hurt me. I will always want you to be remembered as the ones who were responsible for my death. That whatever you do in Islamic history, you are the ones who angered me, and in turn angered Rasulullah, and in turn angered Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That is one area that you can never get away with. Never. That if a person comes to you and says, after Rasulullah died, everyone was best mates. Yes? I've heard, firstly, that Imam Ali gave bay'ah after 3 days. No, Imam Ali gave bay'ah after 6 months. No, they were all good friends and so on and so forth. But there's only one thing that remains a doubt. If they were all best mates, why is she dying so young? And if she's died so young of a natural death, why don't we know where she's buried? A janazah is where bygones are bygones. You let everything go. Correct? But not this one. No. Not this one. They will never know. And the Imams of Ahlul Bayt, in our belief, one of the ulama says that only the 12th of Al Muhammad will reveal to us where she is buried. Someone says, why, for example, Aisha? She is somebody who felt that she was in a prime position. Why is she not buried next to Rasulullah? Why in Baqi'? Aisha herself in Mustadrak ala Sahihain, Aisha says that I may have bought certain things into religion. That means I should be buried with the wives, not with Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Her fighting Imam Ali alayhi salam, that fighting was a bid'ah, to fight the Khalifa of your time. And therefore, every bid'ah is a deviation. And every deviation is what? Towards hellfire. So for Aisha, she could have been buried next to Rasulullah, but she openly herself admitted that no, what I did, now someone might say she repented, that's a different story. Fatima Zahra could have easily just said, you know what, I was oppressed, history will say I was oppressed, just tell them where I'm buried. No, never, because your children will one day be affected by this argument. Your children one day will be told by someone, nothing happened after Rasulullah died. Everyone was best mates. Ask them one question, where's Fatima buried? And the arguments they tried to give, because it was a difficult one, some said, you know what, there weren't no plastering and bricks at the time, so you couldn't really tell where someone's buried. Wallah, if you ask them where Uthman's buried, he'll show you straight away. You ask him where Malik bin Anas is buried, he'll show you straight away. You ask him where Abbas bin Abdul Muttalib is buried, they'll show you straight away. But when you ask them Fatima Zahra, they're like, there wasn't plastering at the time. So we don't know exactly where she's buried. Oh, she's buried in one of the houses of Aqil. As much as you try, you can never hide the fact that the most important Muslimah, none of us know where she's buried exactly. And that's a blemish on early Islam. And that's a blemish on those who said that we are looking after the message of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. The irony is, Ashab al-Kisa, how many are they? 5. Not one of them had a peaceful death, or a peaceful burial, or a peaceful janazah. Allahu Akbar. Today, when someone dies in the community, sometimes the families get angry very quickly. Why is the paperwork not done? I want the janazah to happen quickly. Relax. For Ahlul Bayt's janazah sometimes took longer than your dad's one. The biggest tragedy in our history is that none of Ashab al-Kisa, none had a funeral that was worthy of their position. None of them had a Salat al-Mayyit or a Janazah that you could say everyone was comfortable in or everyone was happy in. Someone says none? Wallah, I say to you, none. Think of the 5 of them, think of their funerals. Which one had a peaceful funeral? Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi. He's dying, people are going to elect leaders. That quickly. And then what's the argument? Yes, because they had to choose the Khalifa. You, mashallah. Let me hold my language. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alayhi, while he is in his janazah and being buried, and people are going to do an election, you know it's important to choose a Khalifa, yes? You know. But the man who used to receive emails from heaven doesn't. But you, mashallah, are the mastermind. You figured out we need to choose. The man's receiving emails from people with wings, telling him what to do in every step. Was like, but the one thing he forgot was to tell us who should be the leader. That's the one thing. Of all his mission. That man, people are fighting, they're having punch-ups. They're having punch-ups at Saqifa, yards away. Those of you who've been with me, Umrah, will know, I have taken my groups always towards Saqifa, so they see where it took place. That's Saqifa, Masjid al-Nabawi, al-Amthila tudrab wa la tuqas, of course. Saqifa is here, Masjid al-Nabawi is here. Literally, if you come out of the mosque, it's right in front of you. People are having a punch-up while the greatest human being is being buried. I should be the leader, he should be the leader. Punch him, Sa'ad bin Ubadah jumping on him. Shambles. If non-Muslims heard how we chose our leaders after Rasulullah died, they will say your Prophet's mission was finished. First one. Second one, the lady we're honoring tonight. Subhanallah. Look at her janazah. A lady like her has only 6, 7 people in her janazah. Is that acceptable? People who have given nothing to the religion of Islam, absolutely nothing. These people are what? These people are people who have thousands in their janazah. Fatima Zahra, you're lucky if there was 10. 10! I remember seeing the footage, Ayatollah al-Khoi, may Allah bless his soul, when he died in Najaf. It was still under the Ba'thi rule. Ayatollah al-Sistani led the Salat al-Mayyit of Ayatollah al-Khoi. If you looked at it, Ayatollah al-Khoi, colossus of ilm, you were lucky if you had 40, 50 people there. 40, 50 people. And there are people who have given nothing to the religion, and you have people at their funeral. Fatima Zahra, look at her death. Janazah, secret. Imam Ali alayhi salam, what did he give Islam? Everything he gave this religion. At his janazah, you're lucky if there's more than 5. He told Imam al-Hassan and Imam al-Hussein, when I die, you two hold one side, and at the front there will be those who will be holding my janazah, who you cannot see. What does you cannot see mean? Angels. They took him from where? From where he was struck in Kufa. They took him in the middle of the night. Ali ibn Abi Talib at the end of his life, middle of the night, secretly you bury him. Why? Ibn Muljam and the Khawarij, they had said, if we get Ali's body, we will take it out and burn it in public. And we think our lives are trials. We've been through so many tragedies. And this world is such a hard place to live. Muhammad, who gave this world everything, this is how they end up dying. Imam Ali told Imam al-Hassan, you will find a grave ready for me. And that grave has been prepared by Nabi Nuh alayhi salam. Who's buried next to Imam Ali? Which 2 prophets? Adam and Nuh. Adam and Noah are buried right next to Imam Ali. Noah had prepared the grave of Mawla. How high is Ali if Nuh prepares his grave? And truly, when Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam bought the body, he saw it was written down there, this is the grave of Ali ibn Abi Talib. This is the grave prepared by servant of Allah, Nabi Nuh alayhi salam, for Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam. 92 years later, publicly people knew where his grave was. 92, Ali ibn Abi Talib. Imam al-Hassan, all I want to be buried is comfortably. Arrows all over his janazah. Marwan and the rest of they were the ones who ordered for arrows to be shot on the grave of Imam al-Hassan. Wallah al-Hassan madloom, honestly. Truly Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam is oppressed. Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam. And that's the reality, that you go to Medina, one way you look, and you see that oppression. I wish it was just then. If it was just then, I'll be like, I look in Medina, I see 4 graves with a stone on top of them. 4 graves with a stone. Because you know what they did? 1806, they demolished their graves, and then they demolished the graves of Ahlul Bayt in 1925. Because the idea was, this is shirk, you cannot do these things, so they just demolished all their graves. Demolished! Rasulullah's grandchildren, all their graves demolished. There's one of the ulama, he narrates he saw a dream. He said, I saw Imam al-Hussein and Imam al-Hassan talking to each other in a dream. And he says that Imam al-Hassan looked at Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. He said, from my recollection of what I heard them say, he said that Imam al-Hassan said to Imam al-Hussein, my brother, is it fair? Is it fair, my brother, is it fair? That they poisoned me, but they beheaded you. Allahu Akbar. Is it fair, my brother, is it fair that they poisoned me, but they beheaded you? It's not fair. It's not fair that you are beheaded. I'd rather have my head. He says, Imam al-Hussein looked at Imam al-Hassan. He said, no, no. He said, is it fair, my brother, is it fair that I have many zuwar coming to visit me, but there's none to come and visit you? Subhanallah, Karbala, how many go to visit Imam al-Hussein? How many? Arba'een alone, look at the millions. Imam al-Hussein looks at Imam al-Hassan and says, is it fair? It's not fair that many visit me, none visit you. Is it fair, my brother, is it fair that I have a dharih on top of my grave and you have a stone on top of you? Allahu Akbar. Look at that dharih in Karbala. You hold it. How many of you wish you could hold that dharih again of Sayyid al-Shuhada? And Imam al-Hassan has a small stone on top of his. Then he says, is it fair, my brother, is it fair? I have a flag on top of my grave, and you have none on top of yours. Yes? Look at that alam of Hussein. Then he says to him, is it fair, my brother, is it fair that when my Zuwar come to visit me, they are welcomed, whereas none welcomes them when they visit you? True? When you go to Karbala, they say to you, Hala bil-Zuwar, Hala bil-Za'ir, welcome to the visitors of Imam al-Hussein. Who tells you welcome to the visitors of Imam al-Hassan alayhi salam? That alim says something interesting. He says Imam al-Hassan concluded something in this dream. He said to Imam al-Hussein, my brother Hussein, do not cry, do not worry. One day there will be people coming to visit me and Sayyid al-Abidin, Muhammad al-Baqir, Ja'far al-Sadiq, and al-Baneen. And all of them have come for one reason. What reason? To hear the vibrations of a broken rib in Medina. Allah. They've all come for one reason. Not me, not Sayyid al-Abidin, not al-Baqir, not al-Sadiq. They've come to visit and hear the vibrations of a rib that's been broken. They just want to see that grave. Don't we all wish we could see her grave one day? Don't you wish, I ask you tonight, don't you wish that you could sit there by her grave the way you sit by the grave of Sayyid al-Shuhada? There's a difference between all of Ashab al-Kisa and Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. What is it? Rasulullah, when he died, who was there? Ali was there, Fatima was there, yes? Hassan was there, Hussein was there, Zainab was there, Kulthum was there. Fatima Zahra, when she died, Imam Ali was there, her sons were there, the children were there, the ashab, companions, everyone needs companions there as well, yes? Salman was there, Abu Dhar was there, Miqdad. Imam Ali, when he died, Al-Asbagh bin Nubata was there, Hujr bin Adi al-Kindi was there, Amr bin Hamaq. Others were there, and the companions of Imam Ali. Imam al-Hassan, when he died, his companions were there. All of them at least carried his body. At least they carried his janazah. At least they were there to pick up his body, yes? Each one of them had someone to carry his body, except one man, only one man, yes, only one. Only one man lay on the earth of Karbala for 3 nights. Allahu Akbar. Rasulullah, when he died, they buried him. Fatima, they buried her. Ali, they buried. Hassan, they buried. One man lay on the earth for 3 nights with none to bury his body. None of his companions were there to hold his body the way he held their body when they fell on the earth. None of his sons was there to bury his body. A baby lying on one part of Karbala, and another son who the horses took him, and another son who was chained. Yes? Allahu Akbar. All of Al Muhammad, they had family members to bury them. One of them, Hussein, He lay there on the earth. When we die, someone will take our body. At least one person will come and take our body. Sayyid al-Shuhada lay on the earth. None to carry his holy body. Until when? Until some mention the 13th of Muharram or the 12th of Muharram. Imam Zayn al-Abidin came back to Karbala. Allahu Akbar. When he came back, Banu Asad and some narrations were there as well. But Banu Asad did not know who this man was who's coming from a distance. Is the man from Ibn Ziyad's army? Is the man one of our well-wishers? So they all hid. As the man got closer to them, he looked at all of them. He said, what are you doing here, Banu Asad? They said, we've just come to see what's happened. He said, no, tell me, what are you doing here in Karbala? They said, we came to bury the body of Abu Abdullah. We could not be there alongside him to help him, so we came to bury his holy body. So you know what he said to them? He said, okay, I will tell you what to do. They said, how do you know? He said, do not worry. I will tell you what to do. They said, tell us. He said, go and dig 3 different graves, yes? They began to dig the 3 different graves. He then said to them, now I want you to do the following. They said, what? He said, in the first grave, bury Habib ibn Mudahir. How much did Al Muhammad love Habib? That Habib is buried alone by himself. They said, should we buried Habib? How about the second grave? He said, the second grave, I want you to bury the rest of the companions of Abu Abdullah. When you go to Karbala, you will see that in the Darih, part of it are the companions. Another part is Habib by himself. Then they said to him, and how about the third grave? He said, take the family members of my father. When they heard him say, my father, they wondered, who could this be? Then they went and they buried the rest of the family of Bani Hashim. So you go to Karbala, Bani Hashim are all together, the Ashab are together, Habib is alone. Then Imam al-Hussein, then Imam Zayn al-Abidin said, now I have to go and bury a body that only I and the angels can bury. Remember, ever since Shimr sat on that chest, he hadn't seen his father's body, yes? He hadn't seen what had happened. He was at a distance. He began in the walk. He began in the walk towards the holy body of Abu Abdullah. As he got closer, he saw parts of the body all over the ground. He turned around to them and he said, give me a prayer mat. They wondered, does he want to pray? No. So I could collect the pieces of my father's body. They began to collect them. Imagine you have to collect the pieces of your father's body. He collected them and he began to take the earth of Karbala all over his body. He came and he then buried his father's body, yes, but the father had no head to bury with the body. Then after that, they came to him after he buried his father's body. I've mentioned everyone, I think, haven't I? No, there's one more I have to bury as well. We buried Habib, all of us. Now I'm going to leave this moment for you. You all know where I'm going now. Habib he buried, companions he buried, Bani Hashim he buried, Imam al-Hussein he buried. Then they said to him, there's one more body by the Furat. Lovers of Abbas, this is for you, but I don't want to say anything else. You show me your love for Abu al-Fadl. There's a body by the Furat. When we lift the right side, the left falls. When we lift the left side, the right falls. He said, Assalamu alayka ya Qamar Bani Hashim. Abu al-Fadl, he walked towards Abu al-Fadl. He buried Abbas. He finished with the burial. He returned back to Kufa. Who saw him? Zainab alayhi salam. She said to him, did you treat their bodies gently? Allahu Akbar. That Zainab, what did she have seen? She saw a rib in Medina and she saw ribs in Karbala. Yes? Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Ya Allah. With these tears, my dear brothers and sisters, with these tears, I want you to think of your hajat right now. There are many of us who have hajat in this period. Ya Allah, in the name of Fatima Zahra alayhi salam, answer all of our du'as, Ya Allah. Many of us have hajat. Some of you may be repenting from sins you've committed. The tear is a sign of forgiveness. When a person cries because of haram they have done, it's a sign that their heart is slowly repenting. Some of us, we have domestic issues, economic issues, medical issues. Ya Allah, we ask you in the name of Fatima and her father and her husband and her sons and the final one of her sons, Imam Sahib al-Asri wal-Zaman, Ya Allah, cure all of our loved ones. Remove the oppression from the Muslims in this world, Ya Allah. Unite the Ummah on the love of Muhammad and Al Muhammad and the guidance of Muhammad and Al Muhammad. Allow our eyes one day to be able to see the grave of Fatima Zahra alayhi salam. Let us all recite the ayah of the Quran together. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Amma yujibu al-muftarra idha da'a. Louder, please. أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعا أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعا أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعا أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه ويكشف السوء. The organizers of this majlis, the Ark of Salvation, Ya Allah, give them the strength to continue with these majalis in honor of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. For their marhumeen and all of your marhumeen, we pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for them to be blessed with a Surah Al-Fatiha, but before it, wherever you may be, the loudest of your salawat.
Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein, Ya Hussein.